Hello everyone, we're back with a new creator series. This time we're focusing on enemy creation. So what we're looking at right now is what you would be seeing if you had just clicked on enemy creation and create new. The default here is a goblin, but of course we're going to be able to change that. We're going to kind of be building up a gnoll today. So you can search here. This is our new search function here. I want to just show you this real quick, what it can do. It has scaling, so you can look at these images nice and big if you wanted to. The search functionality here, if I just type in G, you start getting all the G's, and it just updates as you type. Eventually you find your gnoll. You can also sort by creations of yours, others, or the ones that come with the game. We may add additional tags later. You can also go recent or alphabetic. And you can of course just page through them and just make them small and kind of just look through all of the different enemies and pick whatever artwork you want. While I'm here, I'm also going to show you our browser. So I'm going to overwrite this particular image. So I've set up a little test here. It's just as you're going to see here, it's a non-alpha based image. So it's my same gnoll here with just a blurred background. So I'm going to hit overwrite, and what you're seeing here is going to be improved, but just the window here. But as you can see, it's going to cut it out for you. It just finds the main content in the image automatically and creates this 3D cutout as you're about to see. There it is. So if you want really detailed cutouts, the shape of it, as you can see, these have the filled in islands here. If you want it to be something that is, a complex shape, then you're going to probably want to do some alpha cutouts yourself, whether it be in Photoshop or GMP or whatever it might be that you use. And as you can see here, the browser has almost all of the same functionality that the search engine does. So it's very, very fast. You get to see all of the things, whether it be sound, it's going to get all of the relevant sound in a folder. You're going to be able to play them. Normally Unity doesn't accept a lot of the different formats, but we're going to actually just be able to get MP3s and all that to play for you, so you can see before you import what you're getting. So that's very useful. You're also going to be able to choose the sounds. So we're just customizing the look and sound of the enemy here first. You can go in any order that you'd like. You can change their pitch based on if they're small or not. You can change their heights based on whether they're going to be tiny when they're novices, and then they can start getting bigger as they're growing. We can go back over here, and we can actually say, scrawny, or here we'll say gnoll pup for those EverQuest fans. Upgrade to a scrawny gnoll, and so on and so forth. You can go gnoll, burly, patrolling, whatever you like. And then once we have our visuals, and there's also the type of animations. This is more important, of course, for characters, but you can actually still do a good bit here. So now we set him to combat. He'll idle by jumping back and forth. It may also change the way that they walk. So this is your visual and your audio here. Now we're going to go to the skins that they can have. Up above that, you see aggressiveness and AI selfishness. This is just for how the AI is going to handle the enemy. So if you wanted him to be reckless or pacifist, if you wanted him to be, mostly target himself for positive abilities or allies, you can do that. So the skin is something that we're still going to be probably testing a little bit. We'll get your feedback on that. But it's something that's meant to be able to immediately tell the player who may be encountering your enemy for the first time, hey, what am I looking at here? So in this case, it'll be a beast man and probably a defender, which is a guardian here. So these are the roles. You can see that you have brutes, casters, duelists, fighters, furies, all these things. They're kind of sort of like overarching classes. They kind of tell the player what kind of offensive capacity they have. So for instance, a fighter is not going to have range, whereas of course a marksman would. The difference between a manipulator and a support would be the manipulator actually has the capacity to use his manipulation, or rather his support, on enemy targets because they have armor penetration. Just stuff like that you can learn as you progress. Then we have 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses right here. These are all optional, but if you wanted to, you can make him more defensive here. Anything goes. The one thing that you won't be able to do is in these weaknesses, set things like, for instance, aim or something, because you pretty much know that this enemy won't be using a certain type of power, a certain type of ability. So we try to avoid exploits in that way, but they are included in the skin. So when you want someone not to have aim, for instance, you just would select fighter or something to that effect, and you would be able to do it that way. You can also set a unique statistic here per rank. And that right there would just mean that when they are that rank, they gain that statistic. That's just for more advanced control. And you can also set their backstory that it is available if people inspect them. So you can type in whatever you want here. And there you have it. So let's just give them just some power here, and we'll give them a negative of resistance, just so that we have something to look at. We can right click on him and just start seeing what his stats are looking like here. So if you're trying to min-max, this is going to be a good way to do it. As we start selecting abilities, this is our ability browser here. Again, you can control the size of the abilities on the screen. You can scroll through them. Let's say that we're just going to give him thrust. And this is just an ability that the Null actually has. So now you can just start seeing what he's going to be like. Now, as you can see, it's going to fill it with 5 thrusts because we're looking at a legendary rank. If we want to look at the novice, there he is. He's very tiny now. And you can test his voice as well. Of course, I don't have sound activated, but you'd be able to hear his little tiny Null voice. And you would be able to see that he only has 1 thrust. You'll be able to see what it does right there. Displayed conveniently for you. If I go back here and I change a statistic, let's say instead of power, I'm going to do piercing, because all he has is piercing. You can see the effects of that right away. So this is a really nice way to min-max here. You can, of course, go back over here and add abilities. This is going to be the ability he has at Novice, Adept, Elite, Master, and Legendary. So you're just going to add abilities that way. So now what I've done is I've gone ahead and just filled these abilities for us here. And what I'm looking at is thrust, and as if I'm going to go up the ranks here, you're going to see all of the, not just the abilities come in, but you're going to see the stats change as well. So you can see more or less how this enemy would progress. So that's a very quick way to do that. Then you can set where he's going to appear. So you can say, okay, he's going to appear in the dungeon. You can get specific, like a room within the dungeon if you wanted to. You can make him appear in multiple places. And then you can also set what equipment you want him to drop. So here, let's just say that we wanted to have him drop a spear. So we'll have him drop the thrust more here, and we'll maybe add another one. We can say the buckler. And so now when you defeat this enemy, they have an increased chance to drop the weapons that you include in this list. So you can also, at the very top here, control the chances of them appearing as a novice, as an adept, elite, master, or legendary. Some enemies you may only want to be, kind of novices, and some you might want to be bosses. So that's pretty much everything that you need to know for the enemy. Again, this video also shows our search functionality here. Just to highlight that a bit further, I can just type in fire, for instance, and you're obviously going to get all of the abilities that have fire in their name. But as you can see here, like for instance, pyroclasm, kaboom, roast, etc., you're also going to get the abilities that have fire damage. So these tags are automatically placed for you. You can also add the tags. So if I go back here, I can edit the tag of this, so for this null, I've heard people mistakenly call this a kobold. And so you could, if you wanted to, add that tag, and now when you searched kobold, you wouldn't just get the, draconian type, you would also get this guy, or whatever you want. If you wanted to name him after the artist who made it, or where you got it from, or just a guardian, anything like that, all of that's fair game. And now for a little bit in closing, we just want to take a look at the browser a bit more. I'm just going to go here to my sound effects and enemies. And I just wanted to show you now what it'll look like when you're importing sound. So I just go down to my null here. You're going to be able to see the wave down here. You're going to be able to, of course, hear the sound if you could. Right now I have my sound off. So you're able to just go through here and basically select the sound that you want, regardless of whether it's an MP3 or an OGG or whatever it might be. It's not just waves. You can, of course, search your directories up here, and you can search just directly here in this bar. It'll search in this whole directory that you're in, so you don't even have to find what you're necessarily looking for right away over here like you'd normally would. The search is very, very powerful and very quick, so we really highly recommend using that. These folders down here are just going to be your most recents. You also have a little desktop, my documents, my pictures, folders, all that kind of stuff, and then a drives over here if you need it. These little arrows will allow you to just go back and forth, up and down in the sort of directories. You can also click on a directory to go to that directory, so that's also very convenient. And that's about it.